What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you when to let go of a relationship. Now, this is something that I wish I heard many years ago, but I didn't, and I had to experience the hard way. So, I'm going to teach you in this episode what I had to learn the hard way, because I think that's some of the best wisdom that we can get in this life is going through the shitstorm and learning from it and growing from it. So, whether you've gone through a relationship before that was a really hard breakup and you didn't know when to let go of it, or you're currently in a relationship right now that you're kind of already questioning, should I stay or should I go? And if you're asking yourself that question and you've landed on this episode, then I'm going to share with you some insights throughout this episode that are going to give you more clarity around when to leave a relationship. Okay? So I'm going to share with you 9 different things that can help you to navigate these sometimes very treacherous and dark waters. Okay? Number 1, listen to the signs that you are being given. Now, because a lot of times, a lot of people, including myself even at times, we are in our ego. So we don't listen to the intuitive signs that we are being given. And, in the beginning of the relationship that we start out with somebody and everything's all good and groovy and great, right? But we're ignoring the red flags because we're overlooking those red flags and thinking to ourselves, oh, you know what? I think they'll change. They'll change for me because I'm such a sweetheart and I'm such a great person. They'll be influenced by me to change their ways. And that right there, when you get caught up in that paradigm of they'll change for me, I'll get them to change, I'll influence them to change. When you get caught in that paradigm, that's already setting a foundation for a broken template, right? You are creating with that thought process a recipe for disaster. Like I've done this before, and I can tell you right now that it is not the most optimal way to enter a relationship. So when we get into this relationship, we meet someone that we really feel good about. So we say, you know what? I think I'll get into a relationship with them. And it's good in the beginning, but we're feeling certain things and we're feeling off about certain things. And we just kind of push those to the side because we think, oh, they'll change. Those things will change down the road. But we ignore those red flags in the beginning and we ignore our intuition because we're in our egos. Maybe we're caught up in this person for the way they look. They're really handsome. They're really beautiful. You know what? So I'll just throw out all the other stuff. None of that other stuff really matters. Have you done that before? Have you experienced this before? Where you were so caught up in the physical attraction that you ignored the red flags. You ignored the way this person made you feel energetically. Oftentimes, we don't pay attention to the way we feel around certain people. We're just too in our minds trying to connect with other people's minds. And when we stay in our mind, that's all we ever relate to people. We don't connect through the heart. We don't go deeper with people when we stay in our egos, when we're just living at an ego level. I'll connect to my ego if you connect with your ego. And the thing about most romantic relationships, they basically are set on conditional agreements where you don't upset my ego and I won't upset yours, right? Have you ever experienced that before where you're basically like, just don't trigger me and I won't trigger you and everything will be all good? But how long does that last before someone gets triggered, someone blows up, someone says something mean, says something that they don't really mean, but they say it because they're upset? I know in my experience, I have done this, and it's not a fun way to be. So the first thing here is to listen to the signs that you're being given. If you're being given the green light with a person, go. Open your heart, let love flow, let it manifest the way you really desire. But only you know this, okay? You intuitively feel it. But if you're seeing a lot of red flags and you're not having like a trauma response, and I'll get into this, basically what I mean by this is you're operating from old trauma that's causing you to stay guarded, staying closed. That's a trauma response. But there's red flags too that are intuitive red flags we could call, where you know intuitively that this person doesn't really feel aligned with you, but you're staying with them out of your own fear of being lonely. So you just settle for them. You settle for them. And I've done this. It's like going car shopping, right? I'm going to go get me a new car. And you go out and you basically say to the salesman, yeah, I'll take whatever you got on the lot over there, you know? I'll take that over there on the lot. Yeah, that one looks nice. I'll take that one right there. And then you drive the car off the lot and now you got the car is yours. There's no refunds on it, right? And you're like, shit, I wish I got a car that I actually really liked. Because I don't really like this one. It's not the color I want. Doesn't have the sunroof I wanted. Doesn't have the heated leather seats. I don't really like this car. But you know what? I'm stuck with it now for at least a couple years. So this would be a good for now car. And that's what so many people do in relationships. They have good for now relationships. This relationship's good for now. I'll take it. But then 2, 3, 5, 20 years down the road, after a couple kids, maybe after a marriage, they're like, this relationship kind of sucks. I think I should do something about it. And at that point, they're like, well, I'm so invested in this relationship. I don't know what I'm going to do without this relationship. Because they've created this deep codependent bond with another person. And they're so bonded by that relationship that they don't know who they are without that relationship in their life. And I have done this. It's not the most optimal way to live our lives because we're not truly living at the fullest, deepest potential that our souls came here to live. Living in this state of good for now relationship will never fulfill your heart's deepest yearning. Your heart's chambers want to be penetrated by another person, and your heart wants to penetrate someone else's deep chambers of love and union. So my invitation for you is to not settle for a relationship that is a good for now relationship. Instead, maybe you need to be single for a while and find yourself and discover who you really are, like I know I had to do. And then manifest the relationship that you truly desire. And trust in the process that the universe will bring that relationship into your life because you are worthy of love. Which brings me to point number 2. Realize your worth in what you desire. Now, because so many people hold on to this story of unworthiness. I'm not worthy of love. They settle in that good for now relationship. And they don't truly know what they desire. They're not clear about what they desire because they're still operating from a broken template. Well, this is what mommy and daddy did. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And we operate on our inner child wounds. We operate from our fear of abandonment, our betrayal, our neglect, our abuse, our trauma. We operate from all this stuff, and then we attract romantic partners into our life that really just mirror back our inner child wounds and our trauma. So as you clear that stuff up and realize that you are worthy, and you get clear about what you desire, and you start healing yourself and awakening, those relationships that don't serve you vibrationally will start to fall off. They will literally start to fall off. And this goes beyond just romantic relationships. And this focus of this episode is romantic relationships because we love romance, right, baby? Oh. So we don't know what we desire oftentimes. We're not clear about what we desire, so we settle for a relationship that doesn't really meet us at the level we really want to be met. Now, if you've done this or you're doing this, I'm challenging you in this moment to go deeper with yourself. To go deeper with yourself and really ask yourself this question right now, right here. What is it that I really desire? What do I truly desire from a romantic partnership? And am I being met at that level right now? And if you're not, that's when the conversation needs to start to happen with yourself, with your partner, and all around in your life. And if those desires are not going to be met, if your deep romantic needs are not going to be met, then maybe it's time to let go of that relationship. Number 3, Don't stay because you're bonded by your trauma and your loneliness. Have you ever heard of a trauma bond before? Basically, where two people become bonded by their trauma because they've had mutual suffering in this life. Well, you've suffered with that. Me too. Let's bond and create a romantic relationship together. But a lot of times when that trauma bond happens, it becomes deeply intertwined between two people's egos just trying to protect themselves, still living in this fight or flight survival mode. And you've heard me talk about before with the conditional love of you don't upset my ego, I won't upset yours. We got a great deal going on here. Isn't that great? So the thing is, Rick and Ashley get together. They go out on a date. They start to really fall in love and they set up all these conditions, unconscious conditions where they don't actually talk about these things, but they basically say to each other, you know what? I'm not going to upset your ego if you just don't upset mine. Okay, cool. But down the road, Rick and Ashley start to have a lot of problems because they weren't clear about their boundaries. They started to kind of navigate away from their purpose in life and started putting all of their energy into the relationship. But that relationship started to suffer because they were smothering the relationship. I've done that before. Woo. So don't settle in a relationship because of your trauma and your loneliness. And it's so much better to just take time to be by yourself, to learn who you truly are, to learn what you truly love, to learn what you truly desire, instead of just settling for someone because you're lonely or you're afraid of being abandoned. Number 4, don't make excuses of why you can't let go. When it's time to let go of a relationship, the first thing that our ego does, it holds on to every single excuse. Well, they're a good person. That's like one of the first things that the ego says. It starts to justify things. Well, we have kids together, or I'm financially dependent on this person. And we start making all of these excuses of why we can't leave that relationship. Have you done this before? Have you experienced making excuses of why you can't leave a relationship? And the thing that I always say to people is you can't leave or you won't leave. You can't leave the relationship or you won't leave. And a lot of times it's, I won't because of my fear. I don't know what I'm going to do in my life without this person. And I get it. Your fear is valid, but that doesn't mean it needs to be your path. That doesn't need to be your path to always live in this state of fear, because you've become so dependent on this person that you don't know what you're going to do without them. And if you feel very dependent on someone and they've created this kind of like magnetism that you need them and you won't be able to survive without them, that is not a good sign. That is not a healthy sign of a healthy relationship. Okay? So codependency is never healthy. We don't need to be codependent on someone else. That doesn't mean we can't have deep romantic love. But when you're totally dependent on someone else for your source of love, happiness, everything in your life, then that is where we can create a lot of problems. So you have to be very aware of how you're showing up. Am I dependent on my partner? What are you depending on your partner for? Because the more things that you are dependent on that person for and you're not being able to create within yourself, that's the deep attachment that creates a deep bond that if you don't feel really aligned with this person and you built your entire foundation on their foundation, and at some point the relationship starts to go kind of south, then, it can be very hard to break up with that person. And you can do this emotionally. I've done this emotionally. You can do this financially. You can do this with external things like a house or kids or animals. But if the relationship, let me just be freaking clear about this right now. If that relationship is not lighting you up inside, if you don't feel charged, if you don't feel full from this relationship, then you know right now, You know that this relationship doesn't serve you, and it's time to let it go. It's time to let it go. And maybe you're in a point right now where you're in this loop where you're going back and forth and you're playing ping pong with the relationship. Do I stay or do I go? What if someone else came into my life? What if they were different? And you start asking all these what ifs, but eventually those what ifs, they start to get really loud, really strong. Number 5, cut the energetic cord and close the door. Cut the energetic cord and close the door. Okay, I know I'm talking about some serious stuff right now, but I think it's important that we have a little fun with this. You know what I'm saying? So, cut the energetic cord and close the door. Cut the energetic cord, close the door. Okay? What I mean by that is the energetic cord that keeps you bonded to this relationship, that's kept you stuck here for all these years, that's not allowing you to move forward, is the bondage that is blocking you from receiving the love that you truly desire, from being met at the depth that you truly desire, to be held in a sacred way, to feel the heartbeat of love pulsating through your body with another person in sacred union. That energetic cord is what's blocking you. It's keeping you tethered to something that doesn't serve you. So when you say to yourself, I now release this relationship from my energetic field, you tell yourself, you give yourself that command that I no longer want this relationship. Show me the path. Show me the path. Ask for the divine guidance to show me the path to leave. Give me the strength, give me the courage to leave this relationship that no longer serves me. Allow me to find myself and then allow the right relationship to manifest in my life. Number 6, understand that when you let go, you create space for someone who will love you the way you desire. It's almost like going out in your garden, ripping out those weeds and allowing the right plants, the flowers, to grow. When you let go of the relationship that no longer serves you, you rip out those weeds and you make room, you create space for the universe to bless you. But if you want the universe to bless you, if you want to be in a sacred union and you're holding on to the wrong relationship, then that sacred union cannot manifest. So we have to let go of what no longer serves us in order for the right relationship to manifest in our lives. Number 7, trust in the process no matter how hard it may be. It's just like working a muscle. It's just like working a muscle and training a muscle to get stronger every single day. So whether you're in the process right now of grieving a relationship that you just let go of, or whether you're in the process of questioning, we're all in different timelines, by the way. We're all in different timelines, doing something different in our human experience, working through karma, right? So wherever you are on your timeline right now is perfect. It's perfect. Don't judge it too much, like I know I've done in my life. Trust in the process, okay? Trust in the process, no matter how hard that process may be at times. Because if you're experiencing deep pain right now and you're letting go of a relationship, which is very painful, my heart and my love goes out to you, it's important to learn and know and trust that you are going through an initiation phase right now. You are going through an initiation phase right now so the right relationship can manifest in your life. And I remember when I went through a really hard breakup and I moved into the mountains of California and I went into this deep, immersive healing journey. I went through all of this stuff, cleared all of this stuff out of my system. So much stuff from my inner child wounds, so much stuff from the past relationship. I grieved it all out, dropped down on my knees so many times, yelled, screamed, cried. Let it go, let it go, let it go. For months and months, I was just letting go, giving it up, letting it go, giving it all up to God, letting it go, giving it all up to the universe, giving it all up to whatever higher power you want to identify with. Give it all up and let it go. And you will be blessed with the relationship that you truly desire. And that is actually when Melissa, my now fiance, manifested in my life when I went through the deepest healing journey of my entire life. There was no more hiding. There was no more running. I was all alone. I even went into a deep depression. But even in that depression, I was being initiated. I was being given the gifts to fully open my heart, the wisdom to fully open my heart so I could love deeper, so I could show up more fully with a deeper sense of purpose, with a deeper sense of mission, with a deeper sense of consciousness. So trust the process. Trust it. Number 8, just because you haven't experienced different doesn't mean there isn't different. Now, you heard me talk about earlier with the broken template that you might have downloaded from mommy and daddy. Just because you haven't experienced different doesn't mean there isn't different. And it doesn't mean you don't deserve better just because you haven't seen better. You feel me? Just because you haven't experienced different in your life doesn't mean there isn't different. Doesn't mean you don't deserve better. I'm just going to lay that one right down right there. That's all I need to say about that one. Number 9, the final one, focus on your alignment and your healing. Everything is working out for you in this moment, right now. So by focusing on your alignment, not going up and checking on your partner, ex-partner, or current partner's social media status if you guys are going through a breakup, checking up on them, focusing on what they're doing in life, who they're dating, who they're not dating, what they're liking, what they're not liking, what they're commenting on, what they're not commenting, and stalking them basically. That's what it comes down to, is just being a straight up stalker. Like, I have done this in my life, and you feel like a creep when you do that. You feel so low about yourself. Like, I felt so low about myself when I was checking up on an ex. Who gives a damn what they're doing? It ain't helping you with your healing. It ain't helping you with your awakening. So if you know that this relationship is over, let them go. Let them go. Close that door. Cut that energetic cord. Close that door. We should just turn that into a little song. Close the door, cut the energetic cord. So seriously though, focus on your alignment and your healing. My best advice in this moment is, if you're going through a breakup, don't go jump into another relationship because you're lonely. Take time to get to know yourself. Get clear on your desires. Get clear on what you deserve. Get clear on what you're worthy of. And don't go jump into another relationship just to repeat the same stuff. Oh, well, I'm dating a new guy now, and they got a different beard, so I think they're different. Come on now. What you did is you just changed out the energy. Like, the energy is still the same. The body's just different. You swapped out the forms, but the energy stayed the same. And you're just recycling the same energy right through. But the higher you raise your vibrational essence, the higher the vibrational essence that's going to come into your life. Think about that. Just feel into that for one moment. The more you raise your vibrational essence, the more aligned the people are that come into your life. Doesn't that feel good? But on like a serious, not so serious note, I just want you to know that everything's going to work out for you. Everything is going to work out for you. Everything is going to work out for you. And for my ladies that are listening to this right now, I have something special that I'm going to be releasing in the near future, which is basically an entire course on how to attract a conscious masculine man. So stay tuned for more of that, because that will be coming out in the near future. I know, getting a little excitement around that. I can't share too much about it, but I just figured I'd let you in on that little secret right now. So if you found value in this episode, please take a moment of your time right now, because this helps me a ton and I love to help you. Take a screenshot of this, share it to your Instagram story, and tag me at _Jake Woodard. That would mean the world to me. And as always, stay open, stay loving, and stay connected to that beautiful source within you.